Welcome back to All About Money on HKIBC. I am Chloe Fong. Lithium, which is vital for the production of batteries for electric vehicles, has seen its price skyrocketing because of the soaring demand for EVs. The outlook is bullish, with Elon Musk encouraging entrepreneurs to get into the lithium refining business. He says it's a license to print money. That might be a slight exaggeration, but lithium could be the new petrol. So let's ask Rystad Energy senior analyst Susan Zou to give us a peek into the future. Thanks for joining us, Susan. So at the beginning, I want to start by asking you about Elon Musk's comments. So do you think that this is an exaggeration from his point of view of saying that lithium, getting the license of refining lithium is like printing money?
I think it's not exaggerations about like the importance of lithium, because given the forecasted like strong demand from the EV batteries, so we need a lot of lithium. And I'm not so sure about the right comment about refining lithium is producing money, because it's like what we need is more like a steady supply and a steady battery supply chain.
Right, I got it. Now let's get over to move on to the business overview. So we know that the lithium sector has rebounded over the past years globally. So just run us through, where are we standing right now with its supply and also its demand?
Yeah. So due to the high lithium prices and very strong demand, couple of mining projects in Australia that were suspended back in 2020 due to the lower lithium prices have already restarted. And also we are seeing producers in Chile and Argentina also made aggressive ramp-up plans. And there will be more new projects on stream in the following 2 or 3 years. So it is estimated that lithium mining production will move up by about 30% in 2023 from this year, and the lithium market will move to a more balanced dynamics compared to this and last year.
Right, got it. And you mentioned about some other major, manufacturing regions globally, but I'm also thinking, how much lithium does China produce now? We can also separate the sections between its raw material production and the processing production. So how has China's lithium market landscape evolved over time?
Yeah, China accounts about 20% of the global lithium mining capacity in 2021, and also about 65% of the global lithium processing capacity. And the global production capacity share for China in both lithium mining and processing hasn't changed a lot in the past few years, since other countries have also tried a lot to expand their capacities. And but in recent years, we have seen many investment from Chinese companies in the overseas lithium projects.
Right, got it. So besides Argentina and Australia, as you just mentioned, which are big exporters of the lithium, right? So, but somehow we think that Indonesia and, for example, Saudi Arabia, they're also trying to enter this, arena as well. So do you think these two regions will also become the new competitors with China in terms of the lithium production?
Yeah, that's very good questions, Chloe. Indonesia is actually trying to transform into a new battery material supply chain hub. Instead of being just a battery raw materials exporter, meanwhile, it has a rich nickel resources. So when high nickel lithium-ion batteries is expected to one of the dominant battery technology for the following few years for EVs. Basically, I think Indonesia will be quite a rising star in the battery supply chain. And as for Saudi Arabia, we do see some lithium and nickel projects and the initial stage of development, but it is still like in the initial stage, so it is not likely to see Saudi Arabia to become a rising star as quickly as Indonesia.
Okay, got it. But do you see maybe China can have further cooperation with Indonesia in this area?
Yes, China is a kind of global leader, especially in the experience and expertise of battery raw materials production. So there's definitely a lot of cooperations with Indonesia in developing the country's its own battery supply chain. And for now, we have seen many investors from China to invest in the refining or even cathode production in Indonesia.
Got it. And also, Susan, we've seen the prices skyrocketing, right, over the past years. But I'm thinking, also tell us, what do you think about the drivers for these price spikes? I'm reading some reports. They have been saying that there's also a mismatch between the supply and demand. So do you think it's true? And what's your thought on this?
Yeah, I think it's true that the recent surge of lithium price is mainly due to the price not say it's mainly due to the supply and demand mismatch. So it's a natural price response. And overall battery demand is growing more quickly than we had previously expected following the COVID outbreak in 2020. Meanwhile, lower lithium prices in 2019 and 2020 had pushed back quite a lot of lithium projects. So yeah, that's how we get that mismatch.
Got it. But if we keep having this soaring demand, will we have enough lithium for us to produce enough batteries to meet the demand?
Yeah, price will always respond very quickly. Like for now, the lithium prices are at historical high, so we are seeing more lithium supply globally. So in next 2 or 3 years, we think lithium market will grow more balanced. However, from 2025 or 2026 onwards, with higher adoption of EVs, especially of BEVs, it is likely lithium market will move towards a deficit again. Um, for example, by 2025, we expect the total battery demand for both transportation and energy storage in the high case scenario will grow by over 400% compared to 2021.
Right, that's why a lot of business are entering this arena as well. So I'm also thinking, do you think the critical minerals will become the new front line in the US-China rivalry?
I wouldn't call it a rivalry because both countries like US and China are both big EV markets and trying to push forward the EV adoption, and they both made commitment to the energy transition in the past few years. Although China indeed has obvious like expertise and experience in the battery material supply. Um, I guess for the battery supply chain, there won't be standalone local supply chain, although many big EV markets has called for like localization of their battery supply chain. Um, the good thing, I think the right thing for the battery supply chain is to have a mix of global supply chain and localized supply chain. So that means there will be more cooperation between China and the US compared to competition in terms of developing the battery supply chain globally and boost EV adoption and green energy globally.
Right, but Susan, you see that now it's also like the US is trying to step up efforts to expand its domestic mineral supply chains, right? To break its dependence on China, especially on Chinese mineral processing and battery manufacturing. And we think that the US Congress this month has just passed the Climate, Tax and Healthcare Package Bill, or the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. It could target Chinese groups by requiring a threshold of raw materials in batteries to be processed or recycled in the US, or by a free trade agreement partner, right? So you also said that this new electric vehicle credit, which is included in the bill, a mixed bag of potential opportunities and threats. So can you elaborate more to us on this?
Yeah, I think the opportunity of this act is actually it brings more support to a quick local EV adoption in the next 10 years. It's benefit the consumers, EV consumers, and also the auto OEMs, EV producers. But the threat is whether the requirement, as you said, of mineral extraction or processing, as well as the battery components production assembly, could be fully met so that both EV producers and EV consumers can really enjoy the benefits of these tax credits.
Right. So you mean overall, you still think that the act is not really posing as a competition with China, but is trying to boost the overall new energy usage, right?
Yes, and as I just mentioned, so the battery supply chain actually need both local supply chain and global supply chain. So the act is actually trying to accelerate the pace of US to set up its own localized battery supply chain.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for your thoughts today. That's all we have for today's session. Thank you very much for your time, Susan. Appreciate. And that's Susan Zou, senior analyst with Rystad Energy. We'll be back on HKIBC next Sunday night. So until the next time, see you then.